Hi, I'm Carlo Rosillo. I directed Atomic Hearts. Atomic Hearts is a post-apocalypse, like surreal time period piece revolving around this nuclear family and their kind of reluctantness of kind of accepting the world that's given to them and kind of holding on to something that's not really there anymore. And it's a dark comedy in that sense. So. Mhm.
So this is a period piece.
Yeah.
What was the reasoning behind making it a period piece?
Well, this film's interesting because we created it for the 48-hour film festival for Wisconsin. And when we got kind of our prompt, which was climate film and dark comedy, and the kind of resources we had, which is that we know someone who has interest in a lot of like 60s and 70s like decorations or furniture or even appliances. So we had that location ready to go. We immediately thought of like a climate film was Don't Look Up and kind of like the end of the world-esque of it. And then I guess we kind of landed on like the 60s and like the nuclear scares and all that stuff. And that's kind of where like our film was born from. Is like, what if yeah, we have this location that looks like a 60s like nuclear family setup. What if we kind of leaned into that and used kind of the outdated morals to kind of poke fun at things in that respect. So
So you made this in 48 hours then.
we did make this in 48 hours. It was very stressful. And yeah, it took kind of all of our team to kind of create this film from utilizing all of our different writers and stuff to create all like the 60s lingo and all that stuff. So it was interesting to kind of incorporate that into this type of dialogue because I've never worked with it. And then obviously like the set dressing and stuff was essential for a period piece. Luckily, a lot of the location was already kind of giving it kind of gave that to us, but we also had a lot of fun trying to create like a post-apocalypse like location in 48 hours. So luckily we had like an empty apartment that we could kind of like set dress from nothing. But even then, like we were in the wee hours, kind of losing our minds when we were making this, but it was a ton of fun.
Have you worked with any of these cast members before? I've not seen them in another film.
hmm I recently worked with two of them on our current film that we're producing, a Spider-Gwen fan film. But this was kind of our next project that we wanted to work with them. Jared Linkwinski has done, I think, one short film in the Wisconsin area, and he's doing other things in the Wisconsin area, like a different feature. Amelia Marie, she's a very active filmmaker in the Chicago and Wisconsin area. She's out of Racine, and Laker Thrasher. They're out of Madison, and they were a theater actor, or they're still currently a theater actor. So it was interesting because I've never worked with all of these actors in this capacity, and that was the first time I worked with Laker. And yeah, after kind of just discussing and talking with them, I think I definitely like to create roles around the people I meet and just meeting all of them and like how their dynamics are. Like it's really fun to kind of pit them against each other, just even when they're like talking regularly. There's always like either some like comedic friction or like some sort of like great mesh of like personalities. So I was like, I want to pit these like actors against each other, and that was super fun to do.
You're also a legacy filmmaker at our festival. You've had two
Yeah.
films previously, and both those films won Best Ensemble.
Yes. They have.
Do you generally write for larger casts?
I don't go into it kind of with that mindset, but I guess it just happens to be that way. I mean, I just love working with actors, and I think my perspective of like directing and like the films I like is when like multiple different types of personalities are clashing with each other. And I think maybe that's just kind of how I've fallen into it. But I don't go into it, but somehow usually like an ensemble and pitting them against the main character seems to be what happens, and I really do enjoy those. So yeah.
Wonderful. Now, why don't you talk about a little bit about your background?
Mm-hmm.
You are a director and cinematographer.
Mm-hmm.
You, after immigrating to northern Wisconsin, now you're here in the Milwaukee
Yes.
area, right? Or are you in the Racine area?
I'm in Milwaukee
Okay.
currently. Wauwatosa. Yeah. Um, yeah. So I was born in the Philippines, and I moved to the U.S. when I was 8, and I grew up in northern Wisconsin, Minocqua area. If you are like a tourist or someone who likes to go up north, you're probably familiar with that. But ever since then, I've always kind of wanted to do something with movies or with like film or video, because that's kind of like how I connected with people when I was younger, like not really knowing people's cultures or anything from the US. It was like the easiest way that I could instantly connect with someone. And like that's even reflective of like even what I'm doing right now. It's like Spider-Man was like my big film that I connected with, and I connected with other people. I'd be like, I don't know what type of music or how you even dress, and we are very different people, but you know this character and we can connect on that. And I think it's funny because now we're creating like a Spider-Man-esque movie with a lot of the people that worked on this project as
Oh,
well,
that
with Atomic
sounds like it
Hearts.
probably is a personal project with you then as well, because that's what got you into filmmaking.
Yes, it was an interesting kind of like crossroads for a lot of the people I work with and what I do. My close friend, Lacey Tatro, who I'm now dating. At the time we were just friends, but she wanted to create this film, and I didn't know if I was particularly ready with it, but I think both of our passions about it kind of came to like an interesting crossroads, and now it's like it's blossomed into something that's even bigger than I would have imagined. But I think it's come full circle because when I moved here, that's what I've always wanted to do, and now like I get to do a version of that. Mhm.
So, besides this Spider-Gwen film, what else have you got planned going on?
Uh, I've got a couple films that I'm in post-production for. I've been wanting to I created this film Until This Day in 2020, which is a romance film, and it's about kind of moving on and like being young love kind of and moving on, and that's
A
been in post.
feature?
It's gonna be a short film,
Okay.
unfortunately, but that's one that I'm excited. I've been kind of waiting because festivals were virtual for a bit, and this one I would like to experience like in a theater with people. It's got some incredible acting in it, and it was a very personal film for me that I created during COVID. Um, and then I'm always working on stuff, but I am in the process of in pre-pro for my feature debut, I guess. Yeah.
That's great.
Mhm.
So, do you have any parting words about your film to make people want to see it?
Uh, Yes. If you're a fan of kind of weird, wacky movies, or you're a fan of like Fallout, like the video game or the 60s, this one's a really fun watch. I'm very excited for people to check it out. And even though we did it in 48 hours, I'm very proud of what we did, and it's 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 a fun time.
Well, thank you so much, John.
All right, thank you.